Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So Josina Anderson just reported that the Washington Commanders are interested in possibly signing free agent running back Kareem Hunt. So I'll talk about that in today's video. If you guys are new, please subscribe. It takes 1 second. Just go ahead and do it. It would make my day super close to 11K. So I'm going to try to make this quick because it is late, but this kind of came out of nowhere. So, I'll read the report right here from Josina Anderson. She said, "I'm told the Commanders have quietly been making some preliminary inquiries behind the scenes on free agent running back Kareem Hunt, per league source. We'll see if this leads an opportunity for Hunt with Washington." And you guys can see it's the account. It's, Josina Anderson's, official account, 240,000 followers. So it is legit. Josina Anderson does have sources. She's close with a lot of players in the NFL. So this is just totally random for sure. If you guys want to look at Kareem Hunt's stats, he's been in the league for a while. Was drafted, in 2017 by the Kansas City Chiefs in the 3rd round and played under Beiniemy. So, and I believe at that time he might have been running backs coach in 2017. Not 100% sure, but he might have been running backs coach that year. And, he played in 16 games in 2017, had 272 carries for 1,327 yards, 8 touchdowns, averaged 5 yards a catch, or 5 yards a carry, only had 1 fumble lost. And that is the only fumble that he's lost in his career, which is pretty impressive, and that was on his first carry. He also had 455 yards receiving, averaging about 9 yards a catch with 3 touchdowns. So he had 1,800 total yards and 11 touchdowns in his rookie season. That was his best year by far. The second year was still doing pretty well and had played in 11 games, averaged 4.6 yards a carry, but had the kicking incident, where the domestic, violence, and then he was released by the Chiefs, and then the Cleveland Browns picked him up. And ever since then, he's been solid, but he's just been second fiddle to Nick Chubb, who's one of the better running backs in the NFL. So he's been solid for most of the years. Besides this year where he wasn't really efficient, this past year, he only had 3.8 yards per carry. The rest of the years, 5, 4.2, 4.2, which is pretty solid, and averaged about, I don't know, if you take out 2019 where he only played 8 games, I mean, he probably averaged around 5 touchdowns a season, even with only playing in 8 games in 2021. And receiving wise, he's a receiving back. You can use him as a receiver. 200 yards receiving this past year in 17 games, 174 the year before, and then 300 the year before. So kind of, I would say around 300 is what he gets, because he's on pace for 350 here. And this past year, they just used him less than normal, and there are the rumors he was going to get traded and stuff like that. So yeah, that was kind of it. And he's 27 years old, so still relatively young. If they do this, do I hate the move? No. Do I love it? Also, no. Just because we already have Brian Robinson. Then behind him, you got Antonio Gibson, who can also run the football. I mean, I just made a video about him today and talking about how the Commanders are going to use him. And, they're going to use him more as a pass-catching back, but he can still run the football. And then you just drafted Chris Rodriguez, not, high pick, but 6th rounder. He's, going to make the team. So for me, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to have a backfield consisting of Brian Robinson, Gibson, and Kareem Hunt. And sorry, there's a little bit of background noise, but maybe they're okay, we're going to have Brian Robinson, and he's only going to run the football. Then we're going to have Gibson, who's only going to receive the football with, limited carries. And then Kareem Hunt, who can do a little bit of both. I mean, it would obviously add to the depth, and it would make you better. I just don't know if it's necessary. And I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a necessary move. But Kareem Hunt is still solid, and he did have his best season under Beiniemy in Kansas City. So, he's not that same player, but he's still a pretty solid player. And, if he was the number 1 back on the team, he would get well over 1,000 yards and probably around 400 receiving yards as well. But, it would be interesting. It would be interesting to say the least. And hey, if that happens, maybe they put Gibson on the trade block. Like, this move kind of caught me off guard, and it's very not move. They didn't make a move yet, but the possibility of making this move kind of caught me off guard and confuses me a little bit, because again, don't think it would be a bad move because you're just adding talent to your team, and Kareem Hunt is better than Chris Rodriguez, so he's better than the next man up. And the combination of Kareem Hunt, Brian Robinson, and Tony Gibson, that's a pretty good backfield right there. We already have a solid backfield, but that would make it even better. I just don't know how all the touches would work and how people would be, if people would be happy about that. So, maybe Kareem Hunt is fine with a very limited role. I mean, he is a free agent, so maybe he's fine being that third back and not getting many carries. I mean, last year they did have Brian Robinson, Gibson, and McKissick going into the season, so it could happen. It could happen, and, if it does, though, it's just going to be interesting to see the roles that they have all four of these guys in. That's kind of my those are my thoughts on the situation right there. So I don't know. It's reporting for a reason, so maybe it's coming from the agent or the team. I don't know, but it looks like it could be happening. Maybe we'll see if a visit takes place, and then eventually maybe they will sign him. It could be a situation also that, we have to monitor. Maybe they don't do it until training camp or the regular season because, Kareem Hunt probably he would still be a little bit rusty off of it, but he knows the offense, so he would be able to pick it up real quick. So that's really it on today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy, and peace, guys.